Welcome everyone back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe. Can't thank you enough for the support. It's going a long way. It makes me feel better about myself. So thank you very much for your support and continuing to enjoy the videos. We've got a real doozy this week. We've got the 10 players to watch out for in the mid-season draft. So we've got 5 players that probably have been talked about that you're familiar with. And then I've thrown a few curveball 5 names that you may not have got regular feeds on, but someone that may be of real interest to you. And what we try to do is model this on what has been successful in the mid-season draft. We're going to have a lot of mid-season content in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned. We'll do some mock drafts, we'll do all sorts, we'll do some live engaging stuff as we always do. So looking forward to this one. I have been scouting quite hard. I've got a few mates as well who have been scouting the leagues for me as well, who are very good football heads. So been a collective effort. We're really trying to go another level with this. So let's start. Jack Hutchinson, Collingwood Football Club's VFL player, and a real exciting player that is that wonderful size, isn't he? That 190, the 22-year-old, so he's real good. High-flying, exciting machine, but he's also willing to play defensive as well. So for that 190, so this, if you're looking for like a third marking tool, or maybe like a Brody Majacek type player, this would be your go-to. He's got decent turn of pace, and he's really got a sweet goal-kicking action, and he really is a good conduit between the midfield and the forward line. But he is an excitement machine, and he reminds me a lot of Ash Johnson, but probably a bit more disciplined and a bit more repeatable, which is really important. One of the games that stood out for me was his first game against Sandy. So I watched Sandy quite a bit, partly because my dynasty team has a few Sandy Dragons boys in it, but this really showcased his defensive prowess. He had the 7 tackles and he really looked the part. He really led really well up the wing as well, particularly his leads from the pocket. And then you've got the Essendon game where he destroyed that. He turned it on his head, kicked 2 goals, and he just shows what he can do with a limited impact. Over the VFL this year, 7 games, 9.4 disposals, 3.4 marks, 3.3 tackles and 1.3 goals. This kid here, I'll be shocked if he's not picked. Absolutely primed to play. He's in that perfect age bracket if you're looking for a third option up tall. And he's a terrific footballer. I'm really excited about seeing this guy's development because his VFL form has been very good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he may bring. Will McLachlan up next. And these ones are always the most interesting ones for me. And the reason being that they're tough to find players of this caliber who are really in the zone. And Will plays for Geelong, right? So you know with players like that, they are so ready to play. His ability to play medium forward, play up the ground, but also then he's swung back and also had stints in and around the midfield is really testament to what he is about. He's strong. He runs 2 ways. He's hard at the ball. And his aerial and ground ball game is exceptional. And look at the goals here, right? The goals here. One of the games that I recently watched, which was a real cracker, was the Falcons versus the Academy, which is a real big one there. And good to watch the Suns Academy because they've got some talent, just FYI. But 5 goals a year already this year, 5 goals a game, 4 games played, 1.5 tackles, 6.3 marks. His ability to get up and down the ground, particularly in that forward third, is so important. His ability as well to shepherd and make the dummy leads. He's that wonderful size as well, that 185, who can really twist and turn. He's got some real good foot candy. He's got real high footy IQ as well. Just because he's kicked them 5 goals, don't think he's selfish. He looks to give it off. He's a very understanding footballer who understands the IQ and what it takes. And he's a real nice proposition if you're looking for someone in that early age bracket. So that early age bracket who is ready to play kind of in the next 6 to 12 months, but in a good system could probably start playing very early doors. Definitely a player that I feel that someone will take a punt on and someone that in a good system can be a good player. So really look out for Will. He's got the skills. Check him out. Up next, we've got Oskar Smartt, probably one of my favourite players in this draft. And he was in the Young Guns game just recently, which has just gone on a couple of weeks ago. And His ability to play in the midfield and the forward line makes him a real interesting prospect. Again, 26th of the 10th, 2005. So only a bubba, but his ability to play on the ball but then go forward is really impressive. He's been playing exclusively forward for Essendon's VFL team. And as you can see, from the VFL this year, 5 games, 1.2 goals, 2.4 tackles, and 7.4 marks. But the scope and disposals, but there is scope for him to go higher up the ground. So you've got a player here who could probably play day one. His delivery is really good in and outside of the 50. But his kicking is incredible and his football now is really good. He makes them early leads and he's got really good leading lanes. And he's that player here that we've seen traditionally will go in to the AFL and be good from day one. He's a real player here. This is one that I am super excited about. I think for me, you might have the best player in 5 years from this MSD is Oskar Smartt. He has really done it the right way. He's built his game, and I really like what he's about. And there's a lot of players like him in the AFL making their career who I don't think have as a higher ceiling as him. So Oskar is definitely one to look for. It wouldn't be a Pomin Oz draft, would it, without having one of our favourites. And that is someone that is a Tassie boy, isn't it? And 184, again, just about to hit 20 years old, is Georgie Payne. And real interest in this because I've been reading a lot of the pundits here and they've been talking about Georgie Payne as a defender. He was a couple of years ago. This year, he's moved up into the midfield and a mid-forward. And you can see here, he's probably the best player if you want someone that's going to cover a lot of bases. He's an incredible player. He's got real good leadership as well, real good intelligence on the ground, and a real clean disposal. He can find space in a crowded elevator, this guy. 27.5 touches, 5.8 marks, 7.3 tackles, and 3 goals. Real complete player. And this is one of them players, again, that we discussed him in the AFL draft year. I'm not quite sure why the hell he was overlooked because he's a metronome of how your team plays. He's very similar to Colby McKercher in that avenue. He's clean, he's tough, he's really hard to beat. He can play inside and outside, across the forward 3, across the back line. He's really got that ability to do anything. And he's a nice size, 184 as well. Real bulky boy as well. Got scope there to put muscle on, but his ability to sweep in and out and his forward craft has been insane. And he was a pretty tasty halfback as well at one point. So this is a real exciting prospect and one that I think teams will look at. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that presents itself. And you've probably heard about this guy quite a lot, old Joe Pike. He's one of the selections that many people think will be at the top of the tree. And the Geelong Falcons ruckman, who can slide forward, is incredible. His ability one-on-one at 203 centimetres is insane. He really does bully and beat up opposition. 30.5 hitouts this year already. Just under a goal a game, 0.8. 4.8 tackles, 4.3 marks, 19 touches. And his ruck craft is really, really nice. It's a real interesting thing. But this year, what let him down in the draft year was probably his forward line work, right? His forward line work. And in one of the recent games, the Tasmania game, incidentally, you really did see what Pike was about. His ability to battle below his knees and then his ability to slide back and take a couple of intercept marks. He took some massive intercept marks in that game. But then also looked to threat down forward, tapped it to ground to his forwards quite well in that game and ended up with a goal as well, really slot forward and rested forward. So this guy here is complete. Is he ready to play ruck straight away? Probably not. You could probably play him second ruck in the next couple of months. But if you're looking for a toe, he probably is your man. So this could be a really interesting one. Essendon may be a team that might look at him. You know, with Sam Draper always having them injuries and Todd Goldstein, is this something that they maybe look at? Collingwood or another team that may look at it. But Joe Pike, honestly, he is sensational. And if North took him, I wouldn't be against it because I think there is something to work with on his forward craft as well. But a real complete footballer. So let's get into the players that you may not know. And Heath Ramshaw, for me, is probably one of my favourites in this draft. Carlton player. And he's got everything that you want to see here about Heath. He can play down the back, he can play on the ball, and he can play forward. And he's a real versatile player. And for me, when you look at players who you're trying to draft in this, you're looking for versatility. You're looking for the ability to play many roles. Heath Ramshaw's a little bit older than the others that we talked about in this draft, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't be there. He has been a top performer for the Blues for about 2 or 3 years since he's come into the VFL system. 17.6 touches this year, 3.3 marks, 5 tackles, and that is a key ingredient. The toughness, the ability to be tough and physical is something that we look out for because that is a key component in this game. You've only got to look at Jai Newcomb and how he came in. But for me, Heath is someone that has built, has grown, has waited his time, and we've seen some success stories there. Jordan Boyd, Alex Chinkota, Jai Newcomb, players that have bided their time and worked on their craft. And Heath Ramshaw is a quality footballer and one that I think is well worthy of the conversation. Up next is Trey Ruscoe, and you can see a familiar theme here with this, and that is players that have played down the back, down the forward, and are versatile. Now, obviously, you'll remember Trey Ruscoe as that defender, been playing mid-forward this year and to great success for a very poor West Coast team. 17.6 touches in waffle, 3.3 marks, 5 tackles, 0.4 goals, 6 games played. And he's really looked the part. The game that really stood out for me was the West Perth game where he had 18 touches and he was everywhere. He really did make that metronome effect. But if you want a really good game, the East Fremantle game at the start of the year where he kicked 3 showed how he can be that defensive midfield forward who then kicks goals. I really like this. Every club seems to have this unvogue thing now of trying to find a half defensive forward, half goal kicking forward. And Trey Ruscoe probably deserves another crack. Now, is that at West Coast? Is that somewhere else? I think he might be someone that, Brisbane look at. The reason why I say that is because they really like these utility players. These players that can play front half of the ground, midfield and back. And Trey Ruscoe fits the bill. I think he deserves another crack in the AFL. His waffle form has been sensational this year. If you were picking a player just purely on talent alone, Coby Ryan is your man. And I am telling you, I have no idea how this West Adelaide boy didn't play. His draft year was exceptional. His ability to be clean, his IQ, and also his ability just to output after output was insane. He's not so slow as well. He's got a little bit of a turn pace and a bit of a point of difference. And this year, he has really showcased that. He has been a class above playing in the Sandful. And that is really, really important because the Sandful is a tough league. It's a tough league. And he's played 28 games now at 20 years old in the seniors. And his body looks good. 185, 80 kegs, 20 years old. And you've only got to look at this season for me. Go and watch the South Adelaide game. It's available on stream. And that was fantastic. 2 goals. That was phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? The 33 touches. He controlled that game. And then the Port Adelaide game again was another good game as well where he had 10 tackles. And look, 10 tackles a year. Hard tackling. Gets the ball. And he has output. This is a dream. If you've got a pick in this draft in the second round of the mid-season and he's there, take him. I don't care who's on your priority list. Don't care if you need a key position player. This is a guy here, I'm telling you, that has got Jai Newcomb written all over him. Jai Newcomb written all over him. That kind of impact. That you get him right, you get him into a system, you get him in the good nutrition, the good programming. Coby Ryan is a terrific footballer, and I'm a huge fan. And I always look at these Sandful players, your Frankston Dolphin players, your Coburg players. Are tough and hard. It's what you want. It means that they're nearly ready-made. And up next is Taj Campbell-Farrell. And you heard me say Frankston. This guy here is a player that I think, for me, is someone that people have slept on. Now, he was a Moorish medal tie with Lockie Cowan, and this kid can play football. And he's got into the VFL, and he showed it almost straight away. Straight away. He is hard. He's combative. He's a real defensive type midfielder. And if you're looking for someone to give a bit of muscle behind your kids, this is probably the guy for me. His game against the Sydney Swans, I thought, was just exceptional. 19 tackles in that game in a team that was really, really playing against a fearsome opposition. Found the ball 23 times, and he just showcases that defensive acumen. He's gives me very Jack Viney, baby Jack Viney vibes. He's got some good intelligence, though, and he's got some good skills. And he's definitely going to be one of them players that I think that probably deserves a chance. Probably deserves a chance and probably deserves to come into the system and get some minutes in a senior system. you don't win Moorish medals. They don't just give them away, right? He's a very good footballer, and he's one who's probably deserves a second chance. And playing in the State League, he's really showcased it. And we finished with another guy that we talked about heavily last year, 177, 72 kegs. The oldest player on this list, Frank Szekely. This kid, well, this guy here, this Roosters boy, can play football from North Adelaide. 15.5 touches, 3.5 marks, 3.3 tackles, and 0.5 goals this year. And a guy that can play off the halfback, but also can play half forward. He's real versatile. He's real diminutive, but he's real physical, and he's really hard to the ball. His game against Central Districts just showed that. He had 3 behinds, but he had 5 tackles. He's hard to get out. He's got a very big, like, Fogarty type vibe about him, but he can kick goals. His most recent game against Port was probably my favourite, though. 1 goal, 5 tackles, and the 20 touches. He really showcased that he can be that little conduit in there, and he's a real crafty customer, and he's a player that's just really gone about his business quietly. He's been in the drafts a few times and been overlooked. I think now's the time that you take a chance. So Frank is definitely someone I'm looking out for. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know who you're looking forward to, what your club want, and we'll be doing a needs analysis later this week, where we'll give a couple of names per pick and for your first pick. So throw some names out. Who you're looking at? Peace, love, and light. Palm out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella